So hello, welcome back to Steve's Force. Today we're going to do a little bit of an update on all the cars. We're not going to start with this one, we're going to start in my B class, which as per usual, nothing much to report on that car. Since it's had those sensor issues, had two new wheel sensor and ABS sensor fitted to the rear wheels. It hasn't played up anymore, thankfully. It usually has one sort of little wobble every year, usually do sensors. I'm hoping we've got that wobble out of the way quite early this year. Other than that, that's been absolutely fine. So let's be on slightly more interesting stuff, and we'll talk about the Alfa now. I haven't done too much to the Alfa since I come back from the body shopping. You'll have seen a few bits and pieces that I've been doing to it, so like the rear light, fit new bulb in there, put windscreen wipers on. Inside, you can get little bits and pieces, tidy this car up a little bit more. I've still got a couple of more bits I want to do to this car. The bonnet has, I can describe like a sort of tree sap on the bonnet in a few different places, so I'm going to get clay bar out and give that a little bit of a tidy up. I'm going to get probably machine polish on there just to bring up these panels that haven't been painted, mainly the bonnet. We're probably going to do the tiniest little bit of roof back here, just in between the glass roof and the spoiler. So nothing too much else we can do with the Alfa. I have got some plans hopefully to take this car over to Wales next few weeks. I'm trying to get dates and dog care and all that sort of sorted out at the moment, so hopefully that will be coming up in a future video though. But that's all I'm going to be doing this car, just using and enjoying it. My plan at the moment is to get to the point where it needs is going to need MOT in the next couple of months. I think the MOT is up beginning of June, I believe, in this car. So I'm probably going to get booked in sort of mid-May to get it MOT'd, and then I will be taking a bit of a decision about this car. A lot of people, a lot of my friends have already said that I should keep this car, and for an Alfa, it's actually very good. There's not much wrong with this. Things that aren't working on the Alfa, magically the parking sensors started working. Now I've had this car a few months, I've used this, and the other day it was odd. I took this car back down to Leinster with a friend of mine. We was out to go and look at some of the cars down the car auction there. Didn't bid on anything for you, asked no, I kept my hands in my pockets. But we did go and have a look at a few cars, drove down this car, and I did notice the warning light actually went off. Now normally that's on permanent on the dash. There's a little warning light on there so the parking sensors aren't working. That actually went away and then came back on again when I started the car back up to go home. So I gave this car a wash yesterday, and magically the warning light went off, which is really odd. And I actually reversed the car back, and I'll put a bit of footage in a minute just showing you what was working. Now I reversed the car back just on the drive here, and we've got some little bit of roads behind us there, so I just thought I'll just test it out, and it actually seems to be working, so I'll just put that footage in now. Magically they've started working again. I can't honestly explain how I've got them working. If you want me to explain that, I physically couldn't, because I don't know what I've done other than give this car a clean. Didn't do a massive detail on it, it was a basic clean. I've done that 4 or 5 times on this car and it never worked after the cleans before, so I don't know what I've done. So I wish I could tell you how I got them working. For those people also have the same issue with this car, but I physically can't. So I can sort of get why people love and hate Alfas. I can see why they love driving them. I can also see why they find them very frustrating to live with and to own. But that is probably the magic of owning Alfas. I'm starting to get it. I know the ups and downs, the highs and the lows that you get when owning one of these cars. I completely get it now. So let's move on to the SLK. Now the SLK is absolutely fine. Nothing much been going on with it. I still haven't been using it and driving that much. Possibly might be taking up this weekend, ringing up to Chelsea Walsh. And my partner and I are joint members up there. Now she has the Figaro. She wants to start the Figaro up there a little bit more. So I might take the Figaro out. We haven't quite decided yet. It does need quite a big service and a little bit of work doing to it. So I might not take it out, but Chelsea wasn't too far away from us, so I might possibly risk it. If not, my partner were driving the SLK. I'd possibly take the SL up there. I took the Alfa up there last month. So I think if there we get some slightly different cars, taking different cars up there. Just a bit of outing for them, really. So other than that, the SLK, I haven't got too many plans for this at the moment. As you can probably tell, the bonnet is open because I have got it on trickle charge. Quite a few people recommended doing. And I've started to do that and actually working a lot better. I haven't had many issues with the battery. I say many issues because I did go on holiday recently. You would have seen the video of me trying to start all the cars after I'd come back off holiday. And the SLK one that didn't start. And that was because I didn't leave it on trickle charge while I was away, purely because I wasn't here. We did have someone, a family member, looking after the house, but I don't know too much about battery charging and all that. I didn't want them to worry about it really, so I thought I'll take off charge. I'm not going to worry about the car if anything did happen. I'm sure all these battery chargers are perfectly safe, but I do like to generally be around them to keep an eye on them when they're on really. So other than that, I have got some plans for this car for this year. I need to get it cleaned up a little bit more. There's a few little jobs on there. There's a little bit of a flat spot on the centre of the bonnet here where it's almost like the paint's gone quite cloudy. Now, I remember it had that when I bought the car, but the only thing was when I bought the car, it was all over the roof and the boot lid as well. So I'm probably going to machine polish that. I believe that's how I sorted it last time, before it went to the paint shop to have all the rust and the bits and pieces dealt with. The bonnet is, as far as I'm aware, a lot of the original paint. I did have the front little lip done because I had quite a few stone chips that were bubbling up with rust because nobody had sealed them in with a little bit of touching paint. I have got a bit of touching paint. I did actually pick up a stone chip on the leading edge of the bonnet. I just started to give it a little bit of a touching. Not the tyres repairs, but I think it's better than letting it go to bare metal and then the rust will start to come through. So I've got some plans for this car. So a plan I've got for this car is to do with my 1,000 subscribers. Hopefully I'm going to get to 1,000 subscribers. Hopefully, I don't really want to put a date on it in case suddenly all the subscription drop off the edge of the cliff. But the way we're growing at the moment, I'm hoping to get there October-ish time, roughly. And obviously things can change and things can happen. I'm hoping to get there by October-ish, hopefully. So I might possibly do some filming for my 1,000 subscriber special. Hopefully, going to be doing this car. I think I've got a bit of a plan coming together for it. That's all I'm going to say for now, to be honest. So 1,000 subscriber special, possibly with this car. That's all I'm going to say. So I've got to make sure this car's up for that. So still tucked at the back of the barn is the SL. Now, the SL, as you've seen from my video last week, it has passed its MOT, done really well, only got one advice for the exhaust, which you know is an issue with this car, probably will need replacing at some point. Thankfully, that's still the same advice we had last year, so it hasn't got any worse. I think it was just a monitor advisory, monitoring if it gets worse, do something about it, basically. So it wasn't something I have to do about it. If you're obviously in the UK, you will know that an MOT is the annual roadworthy check for all cars aged between 3 and 40. Now, this car actually just turned 40 this year, so legally it doesn't have to actually have another MOT because the MOT is obviously going to last a year now, so it'll take me through to March 2026. After that, I don't have to MOT a car, but as I've already mentioned in my video, I will be MOTing this car every year purely because it gives a fantastic opportunity for £54 and some pennies for a trained professional to actually look over the car, give it a once over and just check there's no absolute dangerous issues on this car. Now, I'm no mechanic, nor have I got the equipment like ramps and everything or a bay to get underneath the car. So it is fantastic peace of mind that I can take the car there and get them to have a quick check over and get them to actually look over the car and just check there's nothing really dangerous on the car. So we'll do that. That's my plans for this year. Probably going to use this car, try and stick to the fact maybe local drives. As I already mentioned, I might possibly take this car up to Chelsea. It's been up there, I think, only once before, actually. I think last year it was away for a bit of work and had issues and all that, so never actually got back up there. So I'm thinking of taking this car up there at the weekend. We'll see. I think it might be a sort of on the day, see what the weather's doing, see what I feel like. See, it was easy to get out of the barn as well, so I might take this one up there, but we'll see what we feel like. So I didn't do as many videos on this car over the winter as I wanted to do. I did start to do a few little cosmetic things on here, but because of the running issue now and the fact that it might need a little more work, I've sort of shelved all those cosmetic stuff because I still want to get this engine actually running right before I do anything else. The cosmetic stuff's always secondary. What I really want to get to is getting this engine actually sorted once and for all, really. Whether that's going to need a lot of work doing to it or just keep doing a few more bits and pieces over time, I'm not too sure, but I think in the next couple of months and perhaps get booked in somewhere just to get a second opinion. But yeah, it's all still a little bit up in the air. My plans at the moment, but yeah, ultimately I'm going to use it for a couple of months, see how I get on with it, and then we'll take some steps from there, to be honest. So we'll finish on this car. Is my partner, this Figaro now, is my partner's car. However, she always leaves me in charge of all the maintenance, sometimes like servicing, MOT, and organising general bits and pieces and keeping the cars clean. So it will possibly feature on this channel. I suppose a question for you guys: would you like to see a little bit more about this car? Technically, it's not my car, so I'm not not really anything to do with me, to be honest. But as I say, I do all the maintenance and arrange all the service and MOTs for it. So, would you guys like to see a bit more of the Figaro? I haven't driven it yet. I really would like to actually at some point when I get the chance. Cut in this car, and probably will film it and my opinions. It is going to need a little bit of work. We haven't got many service invoice from over the last sort of 5 to 7 years or so, so the service is a little bit patchy. However, we know that these cam belts in these cars need placed about every 5 years, and we haven't got an invoice. Last invoice for a cam belt changed about 10 years ago, so it's going to need a cam belt. It's going to need a good service. Probably do a full service, spark plugs, air filter, fuel filter, obviously change the oil and oil filter as well. It has also got a few oil leaks on there as well, so we're going to get the garage to have a look at that while they're doing the service and stuff to this car. We'll take it from there, really. We'll get it for an MOT a little bit later this year. I think it's July this car's due an MOT, so I've currently got 4 cars that need MOT and servicing all in July, all in June and July as well. So it's going to need a cam belt change. It's going to need a big service. That'll be oil change, oil filter change, fuel filter change, spark plugs change, air filter change, all that. And there were also a couple of oil leaks because we parked this car up and we did see a couple of days later there was a few drops of oil on the floor, so there's an oil leak from somewhere. So we'll also get the garage to have a look at that while it's down there as well. We're going to start off using our local garage who the other day did the SL MOT. They are really good for doing all the general repairs to cars and doing the service and MOT. They're fantastic, and they're literally about a 2-minute walk from my house. So I can drop a car down there and just walk back up. I'm back in 5 minutes. That's really convenient as well. However, there are also specialists like obviously the SL went to the SL shop, and I think they're more geared to look after cars and do more of the specialist jobs rather than the garage down the road, to be honest. They're fantastic at doing the sort of bread and butter stuff, the service and MOT, but I do think with certain aspects you do need to take these cars to a specialist. There is a Figaro specialist called the Figaro shop down in Didcot, which is Oxford-ish way, and so we might look at taking the car down there, but let's get it down first of all to local garage. Let's see what they say. There are a few other little cosmetic bits and pieces as well. Tyres look okay, about 5 years old. Looks there's plenty of tread in them. They are tiny little wheels. They're 12-inch wheels, absolutely tiny. I can't think I've ever seen a car other than maybe like a Mini or something sort of older that has such small wheels. You don't see cars that small. I think the Mini was like 15-inch these days, and you might get a 14-inch maybe. But yeah, tiny little wheels. Only other thing to report that we've got used to, this car does have an aftermarket immobiliser, which normally I say absolutely steer clear of them because the alarm always goes off for them. You always have trouble starting them. And sure enough, the same is true for this car. At least when we first got it, we've now still got used to it and we know how to turn the immobiliser off before trying to start the car. So that brings us to the end of today's little update and a little chat about all the cars. Please let me know if you've got any questions in the comments in the cars, and I'll try and do my best to answer them. I'm going to go and have a sit down because I'm still getting over with a cold. I've come back online, I've been to the guy cold. She's fantastic. So obviously I've basically got man flu, so I'm pretty much at death's door, to be honest. So I'm going to have a sit down and a nice cup of tea. And it's going to be goodbye from me, goodbye from all the cars, and we'll see you next time. Goodbye.